Today's topic is factoring. Factoring is a big idea in the development of mathematical understanding, especially to prepare a learner for algebra. Let's understand exactly what it means to factor a number or an expression. When you multiply two numbers together, for example 8 times 9, to get a product, we call the 8 and the 9 the factors, and 72 is the product. So basically, factoring is decomposing or breaking down a number into its parts. And there are many ways of factoring the same number. For example, in our example above, if we took the 8 and the 9 and broke them down into 4 times 2 and 3 times 3, we would still get 72 when we multiply them all together. We can continue going by breaking the 4 down into 2 times 2 and then multiplying it by the factors that remain. So 72 can also be written as the product of 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. Now notice that we can't go any further unless, of course, we would use a factor of 1. When we have broken down a number into its smallest possible factors, we call this process prime factorization. Every composite number can be broken down in this fashion into a product of its prime factors. And there are different ways of arriving at this prime factorization. We could continue with 72, for example. Let's start out as 72 is equal to 12 times 6. And we could break down the 12 into 6 times 2, and the 6 into 3 times 2. And finally, we could break down the first 6 into 3 times 2 again. And so as you can see, we still have 3 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 2. That is the prime factorization of 72. And for the sake of efficiency, we can write a number's prime factorization using exponents, because especially when we work with much larger numbers, it would take up a lot of space and time to write each factor separately. So in the case of 72, we could write it as 72 equals 2 to the third power times 3 to the second power, because the factor 2 is used 3 times in the factorization of 72, and the factor 3 is used 3 times. As said before, the ability to break down numbers or factor them into their smallest factors is called prime factorization, and acquiring this skill is an important step in becoming more flexible with numbers. And let's do another example now using the traditional method of finding the prime factorization of a number. Let's use the number 45. So we'll write that at the top. And then this is called a factor tree. We're going to make some branches and break down first 45 into two factors. We're going to use 9 and 5, and I'm going to put the 5 in a lighter color to show that this is a prime number and this is the end of this branch. We can't break it down any further. With 9, we can go and break that down into two more branches. 3 times 3 is 9, and since 3 is a prime number, I'm going to put those in light blue as well and circle those tips of the branches. And then we cannot go any further, so we can express 45 as the product of 3 times 3 times 5, or 9 times 5, or even 15 times 3. We can rearrange these factors because of the commutative property of multiplication any way we want to. So this is one of the beauties of finding the prime factorization of a number. It allows us to write all the pairs of factors of that number as well. We could also write 45 times 1 if we wanted to. Okay? And again, using the exponent method, let's write the prime factorization of 45 as 3 to the second power times 5. Now in the next video, we're going to explore something called the ladder method for factorization, because in addition to writing the prime factorization of a number, I believe that the ladder method is very versatile in helping us in many other situations. So I would invite you to watch the next video. Thanks.